And here we go again. We're here at 1336 East Emory Road at Pins and Pints for the latest edition of the Panther Preview. And alongside with me, I got defensive coordinator Zach Gibson. Before we get into it, I wanted to point out that this place is quite the spot. If you want to bring your family, if you want to come on the weekend, the weeknights, they got plenty for you. Plenty of pinball, great food. I highly recommend the chicken wings. Folks, if you haven't checked it out, there's no better spot, Zach, because we're right here on the border of Halls and Powell.
Right at it. On the Powell side, right at it on the Powell side.
On the Powell side. Yep. We've got people that can vouch for us here. So all jokes aside, we're going to touch on, obviously, a recap of the first 5 weeks for you guys, but really dive into this Halls and Powell matchup. Both teams rolling in 4-1, but there's no better subject to talk to about because, man, you're a Halls grad, but you've bled orange and black for the past 7 years on the sidelines for the Panthers. What does this rivalry mean to you?
It's really special. I mean, it's probably one of the biggest games all year for both communities, both schools. I was talking with the coaches in the locker room and the coaches' office after we got done today. Our kids get up for this game probably more than just about anyone on our schedule. So we had a great day of practice today. We've had a great week of prep so far. Like, it's really, really special. And obviously the two communities coming together, it's going to be a packed house on Friday. We can't wait.
What's it like as a coach managing the personalities of your guys? No, because they know those guys in red and white very well. And it doesn't matter if it's football, doesn't matter the sport. When something's on the line between Powell and Halls, it's passionate, man.
100%. The biggest thing is we always want to try to just do our job, and play our game the way that we do. It doesn't matter who it is, whoever the next opponent is, it doesn't matter. Trying to manage that with a bunch of 16, 17-year-olds can be a challenge sometimes, but we'll never try to reel them in too much. We want them going out there, being excited, having fun, running around, smacking people, and they do a pretty good job of that on their own.
Well, before we really get into that, Coach, let's take a recap of the first 5 games for you guys. When I was here with Coach Lowe, it was week 1 leading up to that highly anticipated game with Anderson County. You guys couldn't come away with it up there, but still a lot of good things to draw from in a 28-25 loss. But, man, since then, you guys have been rolling really. Like, I think back to that second half against AC, you guys on defense were able to get stops. Some things were coming together offensively for you. You guys kept that rolling in your next 4 contests. You've held teams since then to a combined 22 points. What has the difference been defensively for you guys?
The big thing is we're really coming into our own, and those kids that we have, they make us good coaches. And on top of that, the assistant coaches that we have, they do a phenomenal job from the front to the back end, day in, day out, from our prep on Sundays at staff meetings all the way through the end of the game on Fridays. And so our kids just getting comfortable with our scheme, having confidence in themselves, and then once they get to do that, then they don't have to think anymore. They just play fast and have fun and go get after the ball.
So you come away with 2 road wins in an emphatic way. I mean, you traveled to Heritage and then to Clinton. Combined score between those 2 contests, 86-8. There seems to be a joint effort of guys flying around on both sides of the football. What's it? How big is that coming off of the road and entering a home game with the biggest rivalry on your schedule?
It's really good. I mean, we've preached the last 2 weeks to the defense. Hey, don't wait on somebody else to make the play. We need 11 hats to the football with bad intentions whenever we get there, and don't wait on somebody else. Sprint, race to the ball. We've done a great job of that the last 2 weeks, and then just feeding off of that, building off of that, going into this game on Friday, I think will be really, really important for us because they are talented. They're very well coached. They have a good scheme, and so we've got to be sure that we're doing our job, like I said earlier, playing our game to be sure we get things done the right way.
On the offensive side of the ball, I mean, it's not void of big plays. It hasn't been in quite some time, but most people think of the big plays coming from Deuce Rogers, Connor Wheeler, Fabi Nioa. But what we've seen, especially since Heritage, the big plays in the air with Deuce Rogers finding multiple connections. It's not just one guy. Adam Weaver, Zy Jackson, Weston Williams. For you on the defensive side, and you see these guys, your unit goes up against the offense, every day in practice. what's been the difference with Deuce Rogers and the weapons he has offensively this year?
Yeah, I think all that starts in January. We come back in the off season to get things rolling for this year because we work on a full calendar year whenever we're working on our prep and stuff like that. And Deuce has done a great job this year of getting ready to take extra steps, extra training, things like that, to play quarterback at a high level. And then on top of that, too, with all the guys you just named, some of them had experience last year. Some of them, Zach Jackson, he's exploding on the scene this year. That's all a testament to how hard they've worked since January in the weight room, on the field, and what they do at practice every day. And then their coaches, too. I think we have the best coaching staff in the state. Those guys do a phenomenal job showing up every day ready to work. They're smart. They make great in-game adjustments. And I think putting all of that together really, really, you see it come to life on Fridays.
How special is it to have the athletes that you do on both sides? Because they talk about iron sharpens iron.
100%.
And is that what we're seeing in the product on Friday nights here of late?
No doubt, no doubt. Seeing those guys go against each other, we don't do a whole lot of good on good just because it's a bunch of rabid dogs on both sides of the ball. We're not trying to get anybody healthy.
You got to
exactly. We're trying to get on the bus on Friday, but yeah, no doubt about that. I mean, those guys going head to head every week in practice, ones, twos, it doesn't matter. I mean, it's only going to make each other better. And we practice full speed. We're live. We're competing the entire time. There's high energy every single day. I mean, you've been to a couple practices and stuff. Like, it is juiced the entire single time, every single rep. And so I think that helps us a lot. So that way, by amplifying that training environment, when we do show up on game day, it's easy. We just go out there and we just play football, and everything else is easy.
You guys play at a fast pace. You're energetic in practices. That it's a lot to handle for a young quarterback, but Deuce has a lot of experience to be going in the halfway point of his junior year. Like, how much has the game slowed down for him?
I think it's a ton, and it's what I talked about a little bit a minute ago. The amount of prep that he's put in on his own, the extra work that he's doing on his own to be playing quarterback at a high level. I think you're seeing it this year, and then the experience he had from last year, carrying that over, working again with Coach Lowe and our offensive staff, I think has helped him be more comfortable back there. He's got more confidence in himself and the guys around him. And I think whenever we're having success too on the field on Fridays, that's only going to build that confidence. He builds that trust, that relationship with those guys. And it doesn't hurt that he can still tuck that thing and run it too whenever he wants.
Yeah. The guys protecting him, I want to talk about those guys because that was a point of emphasis coming into the new year. You lost a ton of experience on the offensive line, and then there were some moving parts and some unexpected things happened in week one that affected the offensive line. But how have they matured? Now you look at it, I can't believe we're halfway through the regular season, but 5 games in, like, how has that offensive line been able to grow and develop?
Yeah, they get better every single day during pre-practice, during practice, after practice. Coach Pace Melvin, shout out Pace. He does a great job. Coach Ludwig does a great job with those guys, and they're bought in 100%, like, no doubt about it. And like I said a minute ago, they get better every single day. They show up, they work. And I think just getting them ready each week to peak at the right time, that's what we're trying to do. And I think that's the track that we're on right now. You can see that through the production that they've had on the ground and in the air, keeping him clean and opening up for Deuce and the plethora of tailbacks that we have this year to carry the ball.
Now let's get into it. Let's talk about this matchup this week.
Let's do it.
Against Halls, the Battle of Emory. You know a lot of the coaches over there.
I do.
What's it like with some of you guys on the coaching staff? I know you touched on kind of managing expectations and emotions for the players, but for you guys, are you kind of locking down those conversations with the other side? Are you fully tuned in to this side of Emory?
Yeah. So typically this time of year, we're all pretty busy. So there's not a whole lot of chatter going on between the two sides of us, but there's definitely, I got my guys over there. I'll talk to them after the game. We might get a little wave or a point and stuff before the game. Coach Quall, Zach Brown, all those guys, Coach Williams, we'll get a little wave and all that kind of stuff. But then once the ball snapped and we get out there and it's time to work, like, it's all business after that. And they know that, and I know that, and it's okay, but we can always chat after the game.
So we talked about the points and the playmakers that have come to form to this point of the season. Yeah, what do you expect to see from the defensive side of Halls?
Gotcha. They're a 3-4 defense. I think Coach Hughes, Brent, he does a really good job with them. They have a really good scheme. They have one of the most advanced blitz packages that I've seen at the high school level. They bring it from all over the place. And then they've got some kids that can get after the quarterback too. Like, they've always done a good job of that. They give you a lot of problems up front. And so I expect for them to be aggressive like they always are, and to tackle well and to be sound like they always do all that stuff.
So let's flip the side. That's what you're going to be most interested in. You're the defensive coordinator, and Halls has got a talented quarterback in Amari Lethko. They've got a staple in Drew Ross that's been there for some time. That's been a connection for them. They spread the ball around. I think they've got 3 receivers with 20+ receptions. What's the point of emphasis for you guys on the defensive side?
Yeah, I think continue to play our brand of football, being fast and aggressive. The way that we pursue the ball is one, but then we've also got to be sure we know where their go-to guys are at, and then we've got to be sure that we're affecting the quarterback every snap. We always talk about that, run or pass. We want to try to affect the quarterback because he can play, he's talented, and he's got some help around him, which we all know. Drew Ross, you mentioned, number 4, Landon Vest, 0, Brody Rogers. They've got some guys that can go this year, and we've seen that on film. Everybody's seen that this year, and so we've got to be sure that we're lined up the right way. They do some formation stuff. They can give us issues if we're not focused, and so we've got to be sure that we're doing the little things great, do simple better. That's what we say.
And it's the type of rivalry that it's kind of expect the unexpected comes to mind in terms of a mantra. And, I wanted to ask you, what are your favorite moments of this rivalry that dates back a long time? I mean, I think of in most recent years, a few years ago, I think it was the state championship year. Halls takes you all to the brink, and then I call it the Jaden Collins game.
100%. So do we in the coach's office. Shout out Jaden Collins if you listen.
Yeah. You've had crazy moments and matchups along the years. Kind of what sticks out to you in this long line of the rivalry?
Yeah, definitely the Jaden Collins game, as we like to refer to it. That ended 14-7 in the 2021 season when we went on to win a state title. They played lights out that game, and we played terrible. And it was just one of those games that they were giving us everything that they had. And thank goodness for Jaden Collins. He had 2 receiving touchdowns, I think, and an interception too to help us win that ball game.
Yeah.
After that one, I would say probably in 2019, my second year coaching at Powell, when I coached back at Halls for the first time ever, and then just seeing that from the other sideline for the first time in my entire life, that was really, really special.
Wow.
And that one went well for us, I think, to the tune of 49-0 maybe that season. But I mean, there's so many great ones. It's been a bunch of really, really good games, and no matter what everybody's record is coming into it, who has what on their roster, they're going to give us everything that they have.
Yeah.
No doubt. And our kids are going to do the same thing. It's going to be a tough game. It's going to be a hard-fought game. We know that going into it, and we're looking forward to Friday.
And what was it like for you managing that week that you just referenced back in 2019, kind of managing the emotions and what it meant for you?
Yeah. Obviously, we've worked together for a little while now. I'm a pretty intense person, I think is the simplest way to put it. The simplest way to put it. And so just trying to stay focused during all that. I am, Coach Lowe and I laugh all the time. I'm never calm. I'm rarely cool, but I'm always collected is what I like to say. And so just being sure that we funnel that intensity the right way. It was definitely different for me, but then we were able to do our job and have fun that night. It was good.
What about your evolution as a coach since that time? Because you've had many different roles, and then now you're tasked with being in charge of the whole defense. How have things changed for you in that regard?
Yeah, it's been great. I would say the biggest change that I've noticed has been the responsibility of getting the game plan together, like top to bottom, front to back. And then obviously I'm always going to, whenever we have our staff meetings on Sundays, I'm always going to get input from our assistant coaches because, hey, can we do this? What do you like? What do you not like? And then if they don't like it, off the board immediately. I take it out because I trust those guys with everything that I have. And I know that they're going to have confidence in them, their kids, and me to do that. And so I would say that's probably the biggest difference. And then just being sure during practice, I'm not just watching my position. I'm having to watch the entire play and watch the entire defense to be sure that we're lined up the right way, that we're getting the call the right way, that we're pursuing to the ball the right way, that we have the right leverage, all this stuff. And I'd say those are probably the biggest differences that I've noticed so far.
Well, speaking of this matchup on Friday night, what are the keys to victory for the Battle of Emory, and what's the message in the locker room leading up?
Yeah, I think right now it's not going to be that much different from many games that we play, but we have to win the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. I think the team that does that, you're always going to have a better chance to win. And then what I talked about earlier about one of our big rules on defense, we have to affect the quarterback. Amari is very, very talented, and if we just let him sit back there and pat the ball and do whatever he wants to do, or even break the pocket and scramble and run, because he's a dynamic athlete. He can hurt you with his legs as well. If we don't do those two things, then we're going to have a really, really hard time on Friday. But if we do that, then I like our chances. But we'll have to see what we do.
So what's the theme this year with the defense? Like, I think probably people from the outside, maybe people with a close look as well over the past few years, they think of Steven Souls, who's in the SEC right now. Nolan has been in the SEC with a couple of different teams on that side. This year, it seems like a collective unit just working so well together. Like, what's been the theme there with those guys?
Yeah, I think that they do a really, really good job, and our coaches do a really good job at getting the message across that hey, we're all in this together. You know what I mean? Like one person not doing their job at a high level can cost the other 10 guys on the field, and coaches included too. Like we talk about 4 phases of the game: offense, defense, special teams, and coaching. If we're not coaching the right way, then we put the kids at a disadvantage with that too. And so it takes all of us having a collective effort and just giving our best effort the entire time, all the time, sprinting to the football, tackling the right way, having the right angle of entry and your leverage when you get there, and then just call it what it is, playing hard. Like if you give that max effort all the time, you got a chance to be successful on every single play. Like one of our big things, if you talk, run, hit is what we say. If you talk the right way, if you run the right way, you hit the right way on every single snap, and you got a chance to be successful.
Well, you see it in the play and the product on the field on Friday nights. It's been quite the journey as we're halfway through the regular season. The Panthers taking on the Red Devils this Friday at Scarborough. Can't wait for it. But folks, if you're looking for somewhere to come catch the game on stream, we have things set in place.
Yes, we do.
To make that happen for you, like to announce the launch of Panther Network. A lot of kids at Powell High School working hard to bring you guys content in terms of news and social media, audio, video. We got some things in place, so I'm real excited about it.
Yeah, I'm excited too.
And,
we're all excited.
Yeah, they'll have it on stream here at Pins and Pints if you don't go to the game. But also just any night of the week, Pins and Pints is the place to come if you're in Powell or Halls. It's on the Powell side.
It's on the Powell side.
But in all seriousness, Zach, this is it's a pretty cool place. I like the reactions of folks when they walk in and see it. We got pinball machines lined up against the wall, darts over in the corner. It's a family-friendly atmosphere too. So come check it out. 1336 East Emory Road. Play the new Star Wars machine. They just got it in. I think Coach Lowe hit up the Guns N' Roses last time.
I bet he did 100%.
I highly recommend the Pulp Fiction or the NBA Breakaway. But yeah, all of them are good and fun. Hope you guys have fun on Friday, Zach. May the force be with you. Folks, if you want to follow Panther Network, check them out at Panther Network PHS on YouTube and all the socials. You'll be able to get it there. Can't wait to see how it shakes out in the Battle of Emory. We'll be back next week for Carnes, and hope to see you all there. Join us. Till next time, folks.
Go Panthers.